Welcome to the Fuller Tracy Money Audio Commentary. This is Owen Tracy recording. It's 2:53 p.m. That is Central Time. Today is January 3rd, and thought that I'd kick off and look at the size of the Fed's balance sheet because it's dropped about 13.88% from the peak back in 2022, and the last comparable period of quantitative tightening that we have is in 2018 and 19, and the extent of that was a 16% reduction in the size of the balance sheet. Now, of course, we're talking about much larger numbers, considering that the peak previously was around 4.5 trillion, and the peak on this occasion was 9 trillion. But nonetheless, the magnitude of the decline or the contraction in the balance sheet is about the same. What it's also worth considering is that after every other time where the size of the balance sheet has contracted, well, then it has been quite normal to expect the size to subsequently double. So we've seen that now on a couple of different occasions during the era of extraordinary monetary accommodation. So it does beg the question, when the Federal Reserve eventually does pivot, when they do start cutting interest rates, and will they then also have to abandon their quantitative tightening program and re-engage with quantitative easing? And if they do that, are they going to subsequently double the size of the balance sheet? Will the next point at which quantitative tightening begins be 18 trillion? So obviously that's an awfully big question, and it's an awful lot of money, and it would represent a massive devaluation in the purchasing power of the US dollar relative to asset prices. So I guess that's a backward way of saying if we were to see that kind of money printing, we could anticipate that asset prices for just about everything would double again. And some of them would go up considerably more than that because the effects would not be evenly spread across all asset classes. So what happens next is going to be potentially impressive. And also it would be, in order to have that kind of money printing event, it would be in response to a really rather significant economic event. So then, of course, there is the other way of thinking about it. If we are going to have a soft landing, then the kind of catalyst for a massive money printing episode wouldn't be present. And therefore, we should not expect that there would be the same volume of money printed in response to an economic slowdown. And of course, if that does not happen, then where's the fuel going to come from to reignite the speculative interest in various asset classes? So what happens next in terms of both the economy and the Fed's attitude towards both interest rate cuts and the end of quantitative tightening are going to be rather important.